What do you see in this TF2 video file? It's hard to make out anything in that small clip, but the longer you look, the weirder it gets. We see a red pyro in the shadows of tall pine or fir trees. And let's pause there already. There is what seems to be a human skull propped up in the bushes. Through a gap in the trees, you can just about make out a cabin with a warm, comforting light radiating from the interior. But what are those two bright, unnatural lights to the left? The pyro slowly turns their head to get a better look, but the lights move away. Are they eyes? Let's zoom in and adjust the exposure and contrast. Now we can see who those eyes belong to. A creature with a bone-white face and mangled horns withdraws itself into the brush after it fears that it's just been noticed. This is not a normal TF2 map, is it? What other creatures, people, or enemies could this pyro have encountered? Are the citizens who own that cabin even safe themselves? And what is the pyro doing there? Imagine yourself loading into a TF2 map, but instead of seeing a man-made spawn room or a familiar landmark, you see nothing but a dense, vast forest spanning further than you've ever seen in a map before. As you traverse through the dark wilderness, through old lumber yards and a deserted campsite, you pass an old well that's been boarded up from the inside. Walking further, you encounter some whimpering dogs and police cars out of gas with their engines running. You call out to your friends who all spawned in different areas of the dingy woodlands. Using a tall broken light tower as a landmark, you all walk over to it to convene and climb the steep hill where the tower was constructed. At the top, you see a small wooden cabin with supplies and weapons, seemingly once set up to defend against something, as well as a map of the forest, with several main locations to locate, unlock, explore, and hopefully survive whatever is inside of each. But what is the map not showing? Cryptoforest has you plunged into a desolate campground, tucked away in a place that only knows suffocating thickets and blankets of murky mist. It's a brew of dark mysteries, Lovecraftian horror, and a terribly bleak world, filled with puzzling challenges and blood-curdling creatures that lurk and stalk in the darkness. And it's all bottled up into a single map. The full extent of this world's horror is hidden throughout a story in the form of missions and passing banter from a helpful stranger, an NPC. There are also VHS tape items and notes and theories left behind by those who came before you for you to decrypt. So whether or not you've already heard of Cryptoforest, the open world co-op TF2 horror map with multiple unlockable items and explorable locations, this video will not only cover the main story linking all of this, as well as analysing the 4 VHS tapes to discover, but will also explore all of the endings, the good ending, bad ending, secret epilogue, and a sneak peek of what's to come, which is, without a doubt, the most groundbreaking TF2 single-player experience anyone has ever seen before. And I'm not exaggerating, there's no way I can explain how big this news will be for TF2 creativity, but I've probably already said too much. We're collaborating with the creator of the map, Unicake, who's made some of the best TF2 community maps out there. He'll let us in on even more secrets to hide within the story, cut content, his inspirations for the monsters, mechanics, and story. Be sure to check out all the chapters in the description so you know what to look forward to. Well, judging by this video's length, there's a lot to explore. The length also meant that I had to spend a very long time making this, and that would not be possible without today's sponsor, the TF2 trading site that has the guaranteed cheapest prices overall. Manco.store, the #1 TF2, CSGO, Rust, and Dota 2 marketplace for the cheapest prices and highest seller returns. How can they have the cheapest TF2 keys on the market too? It's because they have the lowest profit commission out of all TF2 sites at only 5%. They also do free daily giveaways, and you can cash out using all the main services with 24/7 support. They're currently giving away 3 golden pans. That's the biggest TF2 giveaway in history. Click the link in the description or scan this QR code and it will massively help me out, especially if you buy or sell any TF2 items or try and nab a cheap deal at an auction. This video really would not be possible otherwise, so massive thank you. Thank you. I really do recommend experiencing this map for yourself, however there is a lot to miss, so even if you want to play it before watching this, I also recommend using this video as a guide for when you get stuck, and of course to find out more about all the secrets and extra content afterwards. So without delaying this any longer, let's enter the forest. After loading up Cryptoforest A2 alone or with friends, your experience will likely be pretty similar to the scenario I just described. You'll spawn in a random part of a deep forest before text reads. You probably will, through smart map design, be drawn to the previously mentioned hill with a cabin in the center of the map. Right away, we're given a map of locations to explore, but these are only the main areas, not everything is given away. Let's take a look and see what information we can get right off the bat. We see the hunter's cabin, where we are currently, in the center of the map, beside a lumber site. Below is a burnt cabin, between an abandoned power plant in the bottom left and a lake on the right. Above the lake, we see the Darkwoods, where someone has illustrated a tall, twisted figure with horns, resembling what we had a glimpse at of earlier. This illustration seems similar to contemporary descriptions of Wendigo, a personification of evil with ears replaced by ram's horns, white vapor coming from its nostrils, and a pointed, decaying yellow tongue. These cannibalistic cryptids have mythological roots from indigenous North American tribes and Algonquin folklore. The most common story is that they would hunt down humans to eat them, and sometimes even brainwash them into becoming cannibals themselves. This brainwashing is thought to potentially actually be psychosis from starvation, with the only resort being to eat other humans, which is thought to be linked to long, harsh winters ridden with famine in the West Virginian and Canadian mountains. Although these ideas have been twisted in modern times, the Wendigo originally represented greed and hunger, sometimes in the form of cannibalism. It's supposedly the utter horror and pain of being driven to these ends that created this monster in the form of folktales. Self-aggrandizing greed and overconsumption is what can cause these situations to occur, and stories painting these traits as undesirable in a way to circumvent those awful experiences for communities, which they may have seen as the spirit of the Wendigo infecting their spirits. The Wendigo don't necessarily have to look like this though, and can change form. And researchers have suggested this can manifest in anything from someone being disrespectful to nature's harmony by abusing the environments around them for greed, to outside tribes or colonialists uprooting people from their land. We can't be sure what type of Wendigo this is, but it definitely doesn't look friendly. Just above the Darkwoods, there are some cabins that we also maybe saw in the gameplay file. The north of the map is left barren, but the west is rich and marked with points of interest. A lumberyard, campsite and watchtower surround the Flatwoods. The Flatwoods might sound familiar to some of you too. It's the location of another humanoid monster known as the Braxton County Monster, or just the Flatwoods Monster, a phantom of the woods from West Virginia. It has a more modern origin than Wendigo, spotted in 1952. Two brothers said they saw a bright object fly across the sky and land on the property of a local farmer called G. Bailey Fisher. Could that mean that this forest is in West Virginia and that we are on G. Bailey Fisher's land? Apparently, Algonquin tribes, of which Wendigo are associated with, inhabited the area of West Virginia, which has cold, long winters, especially in mountainous areas, like we said. The brothers described the Flatwoods Monster as being a humanoid with claw-like hands and a head the shape of an ace of spades. I won't dwell on this for too long, but if you're interested, you should definitely look up more about these cryptids, and you can see cool stuff like this Flatwoods Monster chair that visitors leave out near the town hall for tourists. And that's it for the noted areas on the map. Just from an initial look, we already know 2 cryptids that we are likely to encounter, but what are we meant to do, and where are we meant to go first?
I wonder why there's sniper guns here. I sure hope there's not going to be any ghouls.
Just as you're starting to orient yourself, you hear a bellowing voice reverberating through the forest. Whose voice is that? Could that be a Wendigo already trying to get inside your head? He tries to convince you that he's safe, telling you to come to a shack near the Lakehouse. You can ignore him, but if you do, he'll continue to call for you for up to 4 in-game nights. Why does the sniper never talk to women? Because he only hunts men.
Oh, I'm dead.
And if you decide to go over to his shack, a thin, spindly but polite automaton wearing a formal hat welcomes you. He explains that despite his appearance that does look very cryptid-like, he isn't one of the freaks. He just seeks to help travelers who come across him, in return for favors that help him. If you scratch his rusty robot back, he will scratch yours.
Bebe, please get away from that. You're gonna like fucking sell your soul by accident.
When conversing with him throughout the game, you have 3 options. Take up a new deal, deliver an item from an active deal, or banter with him. Bantering will let you in on some extra information and lore that ends up explaining some questions that you might have about the forest, but we'll delve into that later. He says he already has a deal lined up, and since you guys have nothing better to do, you take it. He explains that a couple of hunters went into the Darkwoods but were never seen again. They left a lockbox amongst the bushes. The trader says that if you bring it to him, he'll give you a key to a safe house so that you won't have to spend a night in the cold. The Darkwoods though? That's where the Wendigos are likely to be, and we're going there already? The board next to the trader's shack changes. We now have an active deal, and nothing else to do but head over to the Darkwoods. Damn, the first night's gonna be over.
We are here. Darkwoods over there.
Is this moving? No. I literally hallucinated it moving. After not so long, we came across the border of the woods draped in shadow. Oh.
I think it's in there. I hear noises.
Okay, this is the Darkwood.
I think we're supposed to go into the woods.
Oh. Oh, these are things that scare away Wendigos.
Ah! Everybody, let's grab each other's hands. Let's walk in there.
Oh, did you hear that?
Hear that? There's a Wendigo.
And not too long after that, without any encounters, Bebe found the remains of one of the hunters who was lost, but not the lockbox.
Oh, I'm looking at the bones.
Oh, I see.
I think this guy killed the sniper.
Oh shit.
Oh, he did.
No, because he got his hat on. At this point, we assumed that as long as you're near a light source, even if it's using a human skull as a torch holder, we would be safe from the Wendigo. In fact, on the Steam download page, there's a bestiary, which has a sneak peek of the cryptids. So I'll show this brief info when we encounter each area. For the Wendigo, all the info we have going in is that they stalk the neighbouring Darkwoods region, they're highly aggressive, and they ambush prey from the bushes. This means that the pyro we saw earlier likely got jumped a few moments after they saw the Wendigo peering at them from the leaves. But lucky for me, I accidentally stumbled upon the lockbox not so long afterwards, without seeing anything too unusual. It did already just turn into night 2 though, and something tells me that is not a good thing. Just by some bushes?
Nah, the police are...
But there's lots of bushes. Oh shit.
Hey,
night
we
2.
survived night 1.
Oh, I found the box. I literally walked into it by accident. Well,
now, if Slenderman shows up, or like Jeff the Killer, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can play this anymore. I'm too scared.
Don't joke about Jeff the Killer, he's real.
You can then return the lockbox to the trader, and he'll give you the key to the safe house, which is marked as being by the cabins. He doesn't tell you what's in the lockbox that you found for him though. Ooh, wow.
Wow. Oh my god, look, it's the Danish flag.
Oh, this is so analog horror.
Inside the safe house, there is another map of the forest, this one being called an oddities map. A VCR player for VHS tapes, a supply closet, and scraps of plans on the wall. Sometimes you can hear the door banging from the outside when you're in a safe house at night. This timed well, as it's night 2, the trader lets you know that it's around this time that he needs to close his shop, as something wicked comes soon. He recommends using explosive weapons for it, and just like that, the first boss's health bar appears. What's that green stripe above my head?
Oh no, there's a resupply closet here.
Uh-oh. I think that's a boss health panel.
Oh.
What's that?
But we were curious to explore some of the nearby cabins to see what was there.
Whoa, oh guys. Yo.
Shit, the bar. Hey, can you get me an old-fashioned?
So, a pyro and a soldier walked into a bar.
The soldier said,
and I whipped you up an old-fashioned. I should have had that talk with
is that a trapdoor?
This is a
No, I
nightmare.
think it's just a prop.
Oh no, I see.
Frozen
I see something underneath.
bricks.
I'm breaking it. I see something.
What's this?
That's definitely gonna open up later. I see below.
I think you're making that up.
Look through the crack. Instead of going through all the cabins, we thought it would be best to try and find whatever had just appeared.
What the heck?
Thanks.
Yo,
Oh, this is for mosquitoes.
somebody in...
It's working.
Why?
See?
Okay, one
working.
question, why?
We spotted a thick tunnel of smoke rising up from the Flatwoods, probably where the first boss is. Is that first boss the Flatwoods monster? Could that smoke be the crash site? Similar to what those two brothers saw?
And you know what they say, when there's smoke, there's Wendigos.
True.
Ow, ow.
I'm
It's
hit.
fire, it hurts.
Oh! Oh, I see it.
Fire hurts? Where
Oh, I
is it?
teleported.
Oh, it's like a ghost. I told you.
A ghost? What?
It takes damage when you shoot it. So
What are
shoot
you guys looking at?
Oh,
Do you see the ghost? It's like
What's
this
that?
ghost.
What the heck?
oh no.
Oh, you ran in front of my rush.
I was standing...
Yeah, it has to be the Flatwoods monster. It looks exactly how those two brothers described it. Yeah, it does have the least serious mechanic though, firing rockets at you, which breaks the immersion a little, but it is fun to try and dodge. And if you're a pyro, you can actually air blast these rockets back at it too. The alien boy also goes completely invisible after going below 50% health, which makes it a lot harder to hit. It makes it enticing to try and get closer, but the closer you get, the more susceptible you are to the rockets, which can one hit or two hit you in most cases. You have to be incredibly fast. There is a strategy and specific metas or builds that are optimum for defeating each boss and how to beat them quickly, but we'll get into that later in the strategy chapter, as right now at least, we don't need to worry about urgency. Now we know two of the three main cryptids on the bestiary. It has alien origin. If it spots anything in its eyesight, it immediately becomes hostile and starts firing rockets, and has a half-functioning cloaking mechanism.
I feel kind of bad. He's just chilling. Oh, he's shooting rockets.
Oh
at
my
us.
god! Oh my god!
Okay,
Oh,
I
you
think
killed
I got
it.
it.
Hell yeah. Whew.
Another day at another dollar.
The trader says he was surprised we killed it, as it had been terrorizing the forest for years, way before the curse. Once the fire from the crash dies down, you can actually see the UFO the Flatwoods monster landed in, but the trader calls you back to the shop. When you get there, even though you saved the forest from further damage from the Flatwoods monster, he considers your previous deal to make you on equal terms, though he does advise you to not waste all of your time on him. He says, just remember, the forest is your oyster. The forest has a lot for you to see. I mean it. Equal terms makes more sense now though, as he hands you your first item of the run, a shovel.
Are you sure he's not a scary monster? I mean, I don't know.
He's a cool guy. Look at his pose.
I think he's. I bet he's bald underneath that hat.
Yeah, he's on the regain.
No, I bet
Rogan.
he has one strand of hair curled up like a baby hair.
He's got bones for hair. It can allow you to dig up rubble piles all around the forest, which have random items in them. The location of these items change every run. Notice how I've said run twice now, and how this is one of the most stressful TF2 maps around.
Do you
Yeah,
think
how
this
do we-
is for the trapdoor? We just hit it with melee, now we can dig.
Sure.
Diggy diggy hole.
Dig him up.
Ooh, a VHS.
Whoa.
Is that Rocky too?
Wait, is that analog, bro?
In the first pile we came across, we found the first VHS tape, the green tape. Remember, we can find these in any order. On the way to the Safehouse to see what's on it, we got lost going through the Darkwoods, and had our first encounter with the Wendigo.
Oh, we're in the Darkwood again.
Oh shit, I did not mean to come here. Why am I here?
Oh, I felt like.
I should
was gonna
kill
say
that
I
Oh,
went
Wendigo.
through
fuck,
something.
get out of here. What happened?
You can hear their groans and scurrying footsteps, and they quickly run up behind you and snap your neck in one hit. There's nothing you can do if they get too close,
Dude.
and in the shade of the Darkwoods, you can't see them. Luckily, when you respawn, you keep your items, but the respawn timer can be pretty intrusive.
So you ran into a creature, I got killed by it, and we still don't know what it is?
But at least we found another.
Alright guys, let's
Digging
get to
spot.
digging.
Oh.
Shit.
What's that?
Instead of getting to the safe house, we somehow ended up at a new location, the Powerplant. It's meant to be abandoned, but
Wait, let me do another line.
What is this?
Jeez, even though with 3 players, this whole place just makes you feel alone.
I found a power plant.
Oh my god, what?
And look,
Oris,
the
dude.
lights are on.
Oh
That
my
means
God.
it's still generating.
if there's power on, someone must have turned something on in there.
It seems.
It's locked.
Do you... Oh.
Oh, it does seem locked.
Even if we do find a key, do you guys even think it's safe to go in here?
Regardless, the door was locked, so we tried to find our way back to the safe house.
What if this was like creepy McPasta?
Oh wait, is this the safe house? I see cars.
Oh, that sound is not nice to hear.
Oh, is that blood on the window?
Wait,
used
what?
To be there?
Oh my god.
Oh
shit.
It's Billy the
Okay.
Butcher.
Alright, guys, you guys stay out here. I'll go check it out.
Ooh, there's claw marks.
Oh my god. Okay. Have your rocket launcher ready, okay? If anything happens, I'll come running out, and you guys gotta be ready to open fire, okay?
We're ready, we're ready.
I'll go check it out.
Be safe.
Anyway.
Oh,
let's go to the safe house.
Okay. Holy shit. Okay, there's nobody in here. Some
my God.
standoff has taken place.
The Sorrowful spirit comes back every night to play its last song between 6 and 7. So do the clocks... do they do work or no?
I don't know.
How are we meant to know what time it is?
Well, I'll have a look at my watch.
Who or what is the Sorrowful spirit? Will it appear here between 6 and 7? And the clocks seem to be stuck, so how will we ever know when that is?
Oh, look, it's the thing! The thing on VHS.
Oh, no way.
Really?
Whoa!
Escape
Oh,
from New York?
Oh, look, guys, the tape is on the shelf now.
Nice.
Oh, look, the record is
Oh, I
playing.
hit it. Ah, it's going in.
Oh, it's going in. Okay.
Tape 1. The camping trip. We see Engineer making some memories with his friends, who have just pulled up to the forest. They set up a campsite, likely the one by the Flatwoods, and they seem to be having fun, but then the tape becomes corrupted. Looking closely at the tape, I can't seem to see anything, but maybe there are some hidden hints, secrets, or Easter eggs that the creator can uncover for us later. Where would you go from here? We figured we'd explore over near the lake to try and find some more rubble piles. Oh wait, this is the Dark Forest, isn't it?
Oh.
The
What's wrong with
Darkwoods.
the Dark Forest.
Let's avoid the Darkwoods.
I still
I'm
don't know what
curious.
killed Oris earlier, and
Yeah, what if we can kill that thing?
we're
Oh.
at the milk water.
We're at the lake.
Oh, I see.
This cabin is padlocked.
You meet me by the lake.
They're both padlocked, nothing here. The doors to the Lakehouse were shut and nothing was underwater. The trader does have another deal ready though, but before we accepted, we bantered with him. He said, "You might be wondering who this creep is," talking about himself, but that it won't even matter soon, nor will it matter who you are if you're not swift. Aside from the counting nights, this is the first time you're given the hint that there's something time critical occurring. Apparently a creature who he won't name is arriving in a few days to quote, "cause the apocalypse." But maybe we can somehow defeat it. And without any indication of a connection, he gives us the next mission. A scavenger hunt to find 4 mushrooms around the map with glowing spores. In return, he'll give us an interesting VHS tape. Maybe there'll be some information on there that can help us prevent the apocalypse.
Wait, I see something. I see him. I found it.
Ooh.
Okay, we gotta find 3 more.
If you go back to the oddities map in the safe house, you can see the areas in which the species of mushroom are likely to grow. For us though, it just turned into night 4.
This is making
What
me
is
think
this?
we should play
Oh.
more horror games. No, this
Yeah.
is the power
Oh,
station
there's a
again.
digging thing.
There's a digging thing around here, yeah.
Wait, so on what night? Wait, the monster's showing up now?
Your vision goes white, and you hear the trader say, "Here it is, the Leviathan."
The Leviathan?
Oh my god.
An unimaginably large beast of a Leviathan looms over the entire forest, legs trapping you.
Yeah, I can see
Oh
it.
my god.
It's like Black Ops 3.
Oh, I'm dead. I need to get inside. Let's get to the safe house.
I'm looking for it.
I'm
right?
dead. I don't think there's
shit.
any way out of this.
It can strike you at any moment, killing you in just a few hits. The safe house seems like a logical place to run to, but when you get there, the door's locked. Eventually, your friends will be picked off one by one.
Okay,
If
Oh
we,
my god, it's getting closer.
if we
Is this guy
lose,
stub yapping about this
oh
shit?
damn.
It's like we tried.
Oh.
You see white again, and it's revealed that this is the bad ending. You failed to stop the Leviathan. Okay, so now we know that we need to have some kind of defense or weapons by night 4, but there's still no sign of what we can do, and still so much more of this map to explore. Especially if you're playing with friends, there is no way you don't get this ending on the first try. Let's not fully get into the strategies or builds yet though, as it does disrupt the immersion a bit, and it's only really needed for the secret ending, and in some cases the final part of the good ending. And let's get on with the good ending now. It's easy to get distracted by other things in the map, for example the wolves.
I just heard
I think they only want to kill you.
I just heard like a little creature go.
Oh wait, there's...
Wait, I just did it again. Hold up. Wait.
There's a car in the water.
Wait, are there gnomes?
I heard it too.
Are there gnomes?
I told you.
Yeah.
Must be a car.
Yeah, there are.
There's gnomes.
Oris,
Oh no, they're wolves.
Oris, if you listen, you can hear like.
Should I kill the wolves? I don't
Oh wait,
know.
is it just?
I think they're injured.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh my...
Kill them.
Oh, this one's
No,
okay.
I think there's
Jesus
gnomes in
Christ.
these wolves.
Kill
They're
them.
also made of metal.
After all, the trader did say that there are other things aside from him that are helpful. Like, what about that room full of clocks with a written message on about the sorrowful spirit? Then again, there are only 4 nights, which are about 10 minutes long each. There are periods where you have time to wait though. For example, the Flatwoods monster only crashes on night 2. So if you finish all missions up until that point before then, you have a chance to explore other areas of the map, such as the campsite or the lumberyard. You might come across that well, and just in general become more oriented in the forest and know where unmarked locations are more, which will speed up the process of finding them if you need to go there later.
Oh, I found the campsite. This must be like where those people went missing.
How do you know they went missing? We just saw them being happy.
No, they're not here, are they? That means they're missing.
After collecting the mushrooms and returning them to the trader, he gives you a blue VHS tape. Let's take a look at that now.
Hey, can you guys be quiet when you come into the safe house? I'm taking a nap right now.
Okay, no
I'm already in there, bitch. Oh wait, you're here. I didn't even recognize you.
Bebe, can you shut up? I'm doing a bit. Oh, fuck! I said be quiet!
Okay, let's put this VHS in.
Yes.
October 25th, 1979. We see an explanation for the standoff in the other cabin. A Wendigo attacking a red soldier. But what does that have to do with the writing on the wall? Surely the Wendigo isn't the sorrowful spirit. Unless he was once a human and has regrettably committed acts in line with the spirit of the Wendigo that the folklore associates, like self-aggrandizing greed or disrupting harmony of wildlife. Is it possible that the tribe of Wendigo in the Darkwoods were originally the lumberjacks, here to cut down the forest and to destroy the ecosystem? Or is it the soldier who is ridden with sorrow? Is he guilty of similar acts, and the Wendigo is there to indoctrinate him further? There's not too much to interact with in the forest at the moment, aside from some sightings of unlisted entities that we'll get into later. So if you make a new deal with a trader, he'll tell you that those tents at the campsite were attacked by an airborne critter, and one of the campers actually survived and hid in a well. This must be the well that is boarded up from the inside. Could there be another survivor with us in the forest? Apparently, he ripped out the battery from the light tower, that structure propped up next to the hunter's cabin that we started at, so that he has power in the well. But an airborne critter? Maybe some of you might have an idea what that is. In any case, the automaton trader said he'd give us some tools that might be able to pry open the well if we bring him a giant snake. Apparently it's been dead for a long time, so isn't a threat and is probably dangling in one of the trees in the entire forest. This snake can pretty much spawn anywhere in any tree with fewer leaves, so this can be a real time killer when you're behind on a run and can waste a lot of time. Definitely easier when you're playing co-op mode for this one, so that you can split up and look for clues. It's easiest if you just try and look out for 2 yellow glowing eyes, but you need to make sure those aren't just some yellow lanterns, fireflies, or possibly even Wendigo, if you do end up walking into the dark forest. While walking over to the well, which is close to the campsite, you might pass the Flatwoods watchtower, which is one of the drop locations for the red VHS tape, which as far as I know can be found anywhere, for example in rubble piles or in houses. And we might as well take a look at that quickly too, now that we found it. The red VHS tape. The tape explains that we can use a specific battery to turn on a light tower. Of course, this is the one the engineer took the battery from, but remember, we can find these VHSs at any time. This means we have a decision. Do we take the battery back to the trader, or do we put it in the light tower ourselves? Well, we need to get it from the campsite survivor in the first place, which we need the tool for, which we get from finding the snake. But in looking for the snake, time had already gotten the best of us.
Oh my god, we do gotta hurry.
Oh, I see glowing eyes in the tree.
Hey, shoot it with your fire. Fire. Oh, there he is.
Well,
Whoa.
I really hope when we come back to him, he's like wearing the snake as a scarf.
I mean, of course if you play with your friends, you're going to be messing around a bit too, but even if you're pretty locked in, you'll probably meet the familiar fate of the Leviathan at least a couple of times. So when we could, we raced to the well as fast as we could with the tools from the trader. At this point, you have no idea why the big snake has any significance. Oh, they even marked it.
Nice, okay.
Marcus Brownlee.
Some say mock.
Oh, he's breaking out himself. I didn't even do anything.
Who's
Oh my
breaking
God.
out?
I don't know, the well just opened up.
I don't know what's down there. Alright. Oh, we gotta dig. We gotta dig, guys.
So he's just under some rocks.
Ooh,
Nice.
You need that for the tower.
Inside the well, there's a closed tent, possibly with the survivor in, but he's nowhere to be seen at least, even if the candle hanging from the top is still lit.
He had a tent, so he didn't actually die, but where's he now?
It's so dark.
Alongside some supplies, there's a pile of rubble, and underneath is the battery. Using a rope to climb up, you can make your way back to the hunter's cabin, and put the battery in the light tower.
How do we get back? Oh, there's a
rope.
Oh, we get sucked up the road. Whee! Alright.
Okay, I put it in.
Nice. Uh-oh. That's not a good noise. Oh, I hear beetle noises. I think Mothman's gonna show up.
Oh, because he's attracted by the light.
The hunter bellows that he sees that we've put the battery in place. Well, you killed the Flatwoods monster, so I assume you can deal with this pest. His confidence isn't exactly reassuring though, as he closes down the shack, locking himself in. We will meet again after you've dealt with the beastie. Oh, he's closing his doors. The beastie?
What the beastie?
Mr. Beastie.
You have to air shot it.
Shit.
Oh dear. Red.
Oh, I'm taking damage.
Mothman used a blinding.
God damn it, Mothman.
He flies around
he's on the
apparently.
radio.
Oh, there he is! Get him!
Drawn to the beams of light, the Mothman perches on the top of the light tower and kicks up a storm. This must have been what interfered with the camper's tape recorder. The Mothman can blind you and seems to direct lightning towards you too.
Oh my god.
That's a lightning attack. Thank God I can read while I'm blind. The damage isn't insanely high and isn't super bothersome, especially if you have a medic. He isn't mobile either, so you just have to focus on doing damage as fast as possible before he blinds you too much, as it wastes time. You can just kind of keep your crosshair in place though, even when he has blinded you.
Almost gone. Yes. I like the skull. Look at that skull.
He's like,
I'm
wow.
dead. Most of the monsters / bosses aren't super difficult to defeat, and the biggest obstacle is the time it takes to do things, particularly putting clues together to work out tasks, especially towards the end. It means that working out the optimum routes and methods for doing each is the real puzzle and the real challenge of the map. And until a couple runs in, you don't realize how intense it needs to be, as you don't want to keep restarting a run that lasts around 40 minutes. And with that, we unlocked our final listed cryptid in the bestiary, Mothman. Area unclear, airborne, attracted to light, and has weather and human perception control. And of course, we also have the Leviathan that appears on night 4, prevents you from going inside, and cannot be hurt with your weapons at least. For defeating the Mothman, the trader gives us a key to the power plant. he was the one that had it locked. He explains that it had been abandoned for about a decade. Why is he keeping it functional? Regardless, about 5 years ago, a group started using it as their base, and then he reveals that a cult was using it to safely get up to their shenanigans. Apparently, their idol ordered them to create the Mothman. Afterwards, they accidentally gave birth to another demon, and as a result, they locked themselves away in the power plant out of shame. He hands over the key, saying, "I don't know what you can expect to find down there."
Are you guys ready?
Let's go in.
There's no turning back now, by the way, so it's either we go in or we... Oh, we're going in.
Oh, there's
I
the
thought you had
ink
to hit
bed.
it.
Oh.
Oh
Oh no,
god.
it's feathers.
Oh, look.
From
Oh
a
my god.
crow.
No, I think this is the Wendigoon, guys.
Well, look at that image. They're naked.
Oh. Inside the power plant, you're met with a medical bed with feathers and ink on it, beside research and diagrams showing moths and humans. Of course, where the Mothman was created. This is similar to the real-life claims of the late 1960s saying that an old military base was the Mothman's home. It's down here. The unused lights slowly flicker on as you walk deeper into the plant, creating volumetrics from the fumes of moss, mold, and spores from the ivy.
Oh my god. This is actually pretty creepy.
Yeah, this is so scary being inside the building. Oh, the lights. Oh, the door
wonder-
open. The door
Oh my
open.
god. Do you guys think the cult is in here? I see a light over there, but I don't... It's changing. Oh wait.
What is that? Oh
There's a
god.
photo.
With a big red circle on it.
A big spider.
Oh,
is on
it says E. There's like a... It's like Stranger Things. They're lighting up, so it says ECUR.
E V
S. E.
Curse. Curse.
Yeah, it's curse.
L E
Look,
V
curse, Leviathan curse.
Leviathan.
Wait, look
I mean, we
behind
already-
you, Bebe.
Better look right next to you. Like on
Look
the wall.
right next to you.
Like
No,
where I'm
I
looking.
refuse.
So basically we need to go
so-
to the lake house.
Yeah, this is the lake house. Okay.
But we have no idea why. They've conveniently left pictures.
I guess let's go to the lake house. But we don't have a key for it. And I remember you said it was padlocked. Lake house, here we come. There's no going back.
Whoa.
Oh, I found that guy earlier.
Oh, you did? Like Bebe, you might have dug up a goat man in a rubble pile. The trader said that if you bring his corpse to him, he'll give us a key to the lake house. That's so mysterious. What are his motives for collecting these strange items? Is he actually part of the cult? Is the Leviathan the idol they're worshipping, or is he the idol? And is the demon they created the Leviathan? So many questions, but with not much time left before the Leviathan does get here again, you don't really have a choice but to conform to the deal and get the goat man to the trader.
Oh,
Yeah. Ooh, I
Bebe.
went.
Oh, you
go
already
in the
walked
cabin.
in?
Yeah, it was an accident. They're coming, yeah.
oh shit.
It's like a fisherman's house. This
Bebe,
is probably
come
the
in.
scariest room. Look at all these dead guts.
Oh my god. Those are just fish, dude.
Yeah, fish guts. It's gross.
What do you mean fish guts? They're just fish.
Ooh, this room. Do we get to play pool? Oh, the bulls move. I mean, the goat man's walked in here.
Oh wait, you
Ooh.
can go up here. Look, you can go up here.
Oh,
Oh, what?
What's up here? Sniper skeleton with a shotgun. That might be
Yeah.
the soldier actually, who like died. But what do we do up here?
There has to be a secret. I'm just gonna hit everything.
the trader also says that there's a secret power plant room hidden somewhere, which I think we came across. But in our case, it took a long time to figure out how to get into.
Damn.
There's a gravestone behind the burnt cabin. Maybe something spawns.
Maybe that's a sorrowful spirit. Think about it. It's like a dead guy.
Oh shit! You're right.
What?
The spirit is the thing that comes at between 6 and 7. So if it doesn't come in that room, then it must come behind where the gravestone is. We thought it might have something to do with the rooms with all of the clocks, as so far we've been taking out all the cryptids in the forest and are being awarded for that, so assumed the sorrowful spirit might also be a target, and we might be able to get something from that.
Does the clock actually move though? That's what I don't understand.
I don't think so.
Wait, no, the clock does work.
Wait, it does? And yeah, it turns out the clocks do move, just very slowly. So we made sure at least one of us was waiting near the clocks at the time that the spirit would show up, with sticky bombs covering the entire room that it's likely to spawn in. But after waiting all night, nothing came. Oh, I just broke into a room. There's a bed
Let
here.
me come back. Let me come back.
It came down from the sky. I swear it's nothing though. There's nothing here. There's nothing.
No. Look, what do you mean? What do you mean there's nothing? There's a fucking X, dude.
Where?
Oh, wait. That's the thing we killed. Fucking
Yeah.
hell. Never mind.
Maybe Bebe was right about the sorrowful spirit being tied to the burnt cabin. And soon enough, between 6 and 7...
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you stay with it.
But I'm gonna be scared.
I scored in all the pool balls and it made a sound.
Oh.
Oh shit. Do it again.
Maybe it's a trap door.
Yeah, wait.
Maybe?
Yeah, I'll go to the trapdoor.
I'm
Should the
standing
trapdoor be
by
open?
the little boombox. Oh, wait, oh shit! Holy fuck! What the fuck?
What is it?
I saw a ghost. It like
Did you
flickered for
shoot it?
one millisecond.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Oh wait, and it's playing music. It's playing music here now. Guys, come here. Somebody
Red
just
Velvet has
joined.
joined the game.
But I saw the ghost. I saw it again. Why? It looks like it looks like William Afton.
But we certainly can't kill it. Not now, at least. So, we had nothing to do except for look around with the time we had.
What do we do with that?
I don't get this.
Oh, I see a guy. Never mind, is that true? Oh, I saw it like it was like a ghost.
You saw the
What the
ghost?
I saw a ghost, yeah.
And start new runs to try and find out more about how to get into the secret power plant room. At the start of the new run, I even managed to spot a Wendigo in the forest. Oh shit, I see the Wendigo. He's just right in front of me.
What?
You guys
Wait.
stuck?
Oh.
Wait.
Considering pauses from red herrings like this can take a long time, it means you want the fastest way to complete missions and navigate the map for missions that you've done previously for more time to figure out whatever puzzle or challenge you've lost to last time. So now is probably the perfect time to tell you about some of the metas or builds that are optimized for each mission. Now, these do often break immersion in the map, but in terms of effectiveness, here are the best ones. The most effective loadout for mobility and loot quests like the Mushroom Quest, Goatman, Giant Snake and the Lockbox is for the Demo Man. Using the Sticky Jumper and Base Jumper lets you get over the map entirely in a few seconds. Yeah, that's what I meant by ruining immersion. You can easily have a clear view of the forest for finding any of the items, aside from the medallions and maybe the giant snake, and the speed you're traveling at makes it easier to hunt for those anyway. You just can't stay on that loadout though, as explosives are needed to kill the Flatwoods monster. For this, I would recommend taking the sticky bomb launcher and setting up a trap for where the UFO will land, as you can also arc shots from a far distance to do a decent amount of damage, alongside any grenade launcher damage. Most Demo Man loadouts or soldier loadouts with splash damage are useful for this boss. If you're playing co-op, it's also a great idea to go vaccinate a medic to block the incoming explosive damage from the aliens' missiles. There's only a small ammo pack nearby too, so if you do have excess players, someone going engineer and putting down a dispenser out of the Flatwoods monster's line of sight is probably a good idea. And you can also use the sentry gun's rockets with a Wrangler too. For the Mothman, any rocket launcher is probably easiest. You can sit back pretty far and get the most damage out as fast as possible. I usually use the direct hit just because the projectiles are faster. If you're trying to do a run with absolutely no deaths and no class changes, I'd recommend going Demo Man with a sticky jumper, grenade launcher, and any melee. Some extra noticeable choices are Spy for the dead ringer if you're caught out by any monsters, or to distract them, or for shooting the pool table, which we'll get into in a bit. He can't hit the Flatwoods monster, but he can hit the Mothman, and if you're playing with others, it means you can disguise yourself and the medic on another team will be able to heal anyone no matter what team they're on, as you'll be split up between red and blue teams when you play with friends. So if you do play, I hope you find that useful if you do get stuck. After us exploring the map a bit more, trying everything, Bebe noticed again that if you put all the pool balls, it makes a sound. Now, we've been playing for more than a while at this point. We're pretty set on not looking up guides, but while looking in the comments on the Steam Workshop page, I accidentally saw something about potting the pool balls 5 times. Surely that's too specific, and without any clue to open a secret room, how could anyone possibly know that? Was the comment even true? We were grasping at straws, so we gave it a shot.
Yo, we got a pirate teammate called Chuck. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
That's so dumb. Okay, now what? It turns out this room is not progressing the story. It's just a secret Easter egg room, so no wonder it was pretty much impossible to find normally. But it does uncover some extra accounts of lore and cryptids and whatever the cult might be doing. This room must have been owned by some sort of resistance against the cult. Old sodden paper on the walls unveils more about what could have been happening. An account describes seeing what is almost certainly the Mothman flying over the forest before clinging to the light tower. Exactly how you see it when you fight it. Cloaked men were watching it, almost definitely the cult. It reveals that its eyes reflect the light, which explains how it can blind you. The updates also detail that the cult burnt down the burnt cabin themselves, and this survivor called the police on them, who were then taken out by the Wendigo. The writer then proclaims that it's become too dangerous to leave his house because the creatures had completely overpowered the forest. And on the author's final document, he describes a terrible earthquake and giant footsteps leaving the forest that shook his entire house. He decided to risk leaving to escape to get to the Powerplant that might have a more robust structure to protect him. There, he saw the cult. They were gathered in one room shaking out of fear. He locked the cult in that room and then took the key. He managed to get back to his house afterwards, however the Wendigo chased him home, surrounding his house, so he hid in the attic. It turns out the dead sniper upstairs is the owner of this lake house and the one writing the note. His final words for anyone reading is that the forest needs to be burnt down. But how? That wasn't all that the rebel sniper left in his hideaway though. He has some more detailed information on the cryptids that we can add to our bestiary. Because it turns out that after living for 40 years in Chip Tip's forest, he's gotten to learn a lot about the creatures. Apparently the Wendigo only appear at night while disappearing without a trace during the day. This means that if you time it right, you might be able to look for bioluminescent fungus or the lockbox without a risk of death. Apparently they imitate sound of pigs, deer and humans to attack their prey. This sounds similar to the indigenous stories of Wendigos in that they can take any form, literally or otherwise. He notes that once, the sniper heard what sounded like a lost lady pleading with him to open the door, but through the window he could see a tall, atrophied humanoid with antlers on its head. Again, things like the atrophy could be referencing the famine and starvation which is discussed in original Wendigo folklore. Finally, for the Wendigo, it doesn't look like they're smart enough to open doors, but they can break through them if they are desperate. He then confirms that this is probably what happened to the soldier living at the cabins near our safe house, and what we saw happening on the blue VHS tape, and what coincidentally is likely what also happened to him and how he got his own fate. He noted that the Flatwoods monster would crash down every 2 months exactly at midnight, leading him to believe that it's not an accidental crash every time, but some sort of routine. Could the cult be signaling the crash somehow? After crashes, it will stay near its UFO looking for its parts, and if it finds them all, it will take off immediately. This matches our experiences exactly. On top of that, it informs us that if you leave the Flatwood monster's eyesight, it will leave you alone due to a short memory. Yet if it sees any organism while looking for parts, it will immediately become hostile and open fire. When it comes to the cult though, he is yet to understand their motives, but of course knows that there's a link between them and the Powerplant. We know more than he did with their involvement of creating Mothman. He's also seen them worshipping that thing on the tree. What was he referring to? Could it be that giant snake? And if so, why did the trader want that himself? Can we trust him? We also know that real moths were involved in creating Mothman, as he saw the cult member gathering moths from the bug zapper by the lake before he scared them off with his shotgun. Aside for quite a bit of ammo, there's nothing else in the room that's of use to us, and it's not long before the Leviathan comes again to give us the bad ending. After scanning the forest multiple times, eventually we got the answer that had been right in front of us the whole time. Literally in the Powerplant itself where we'd looked previously, we had missed one small detail. Next to the photo with a red circle of the Lakehouse, on one of the planks there is a small X, possibly marking a secret room that we could break into. This could be where the Lakehouse sniper hid the key that he used to lock the cult members into in the secret Powerplant room. Or, put more bluntly...
Oh, no way we missed this! Are you kidding me? There's a doll with a secret room in the fucking building that we missed.
So, we needed to get back to the Lakehouse as fast as we could.
There was an X on the...
Oh my god.
I got it. Player have acquired a second
Powerplant.
Powerplant
Oh my
key.
god! It's about to turn night.
Fuck. Oh my god, get it. Alright,
Here, right?
let's go.
Yeah,
Oh wait, wrong one. This one.
Oh,
Oh shit.
the players required a working radio. In the power plant, you find a working radio surrounded by multiple corpses that have rotted to the bone. The cult members must have starved to death in there after being trapped by the hunter sniper. Once you have the radio, you can go to your safe house and use it to send out an SOS signal. But there's already a signal being emitted from the radio when you find it amongst the cult's corpses. What was the frequency they'd chosen? If you put the cult's radio frequency through an SSTV decoder, we get an image repeated 3 times, each with slight variations, with what looks like vines or wiggly shapes branching out. Taking a look in Photoshop, you can see what almost looks like a face in the center image. The human brain has a tendency to see faces and patterns and everyday objects though. Face pareidolia might stem from our brains being evolved to quickly detect faces for communication or detecting threats. What's interesting is that people are particularly prone to seeing religious figures, such as Jesus Christ, in objects and patterns. Could this be a fixation of the cult? Who would the religious figure be? If we overlay the images in Photoshop and attempt to construct a more detailed image, the final outcome isn't much clearer, even when exposure and contrast is adjusted. This kind of just looks like a hand reaching up, and if you look at it in the right way, you might be able to isolate the trunk of a tree with leaves behind it and a large snake hanging over a branch. The giant snake that the cult was worshipping maybe? Was that their fixation? Could this represent the tree of Eden where the serpent or Satan convinced Eve to take a fruit to obtain wisdom that the humans were not meant to know? The cult could be being manipulated by Satan, being tempted to create the perfect specimen or Mothman to find more wisdom, driven by greed to expand their knowledge and become creators themselves. I can't help but think of the link of corruption of greed, in this case being tied to the Wendigo. It could also be that the Leviathan is a spawn of Satan itself. This is just an idea though, and it doesn't account for everything. Why does the Flatwood monster crash every 2 months? What is the cult's end goal with the Mothman? Not to spoil too much about the map creator revealing secrets and lore in a later segment, but he did say this radio frequency was generated from an image of even the Garden of Eden. So that part of it is confirmed. However, the image he actually used to do this is no longer on his hard drive and cannot be found on Google Images. It is now actually the L word, lost media. So if anyone can hunt down the artwork that this section is from, it could be really cool. In any case, it's time to find out what happens once the SOS signal is sent out. Once it's been picked up, you're informed that a rescue helicopter is imminent. Oh, I see it,
It's Left 4 Dead.
Oh, we need
The
to go to the
power
power
plant
plant.
is fucking pick up.
And if you sit tight and have time before the Leviathan comes, you can see the helicopter fly into the forest. You're in luck, but it becomes clear that it's too good to be true.
Are we gonna like get a cutscene where we fly away?
Oh, shit.
Fucking Christ.
Oh my god. Oh, another. Oh, the brown VHS.
What? No, fuck. No.
It's not all doom and gloom though, as you might come across the brown VHS tape if you investigate the crash. More military combat planes will try and come to help you, but it's no use, they all fall to the ground. Could there be another Mothman blinding the drivers? Are there other Flatwoods monsters disrupting the cockpit controls? Did the cult seriously actually curse the entire forest? The planes managed to drop supplies though, and the trader let you know where they are. They turn out to be military grade turret gun parts, possibly stronger enough than our usual weapons to defeat the Leviathan. I guess we'll find out. As for us, it was just the time that the Leviathan was showing up, night 4.
Coming?
Oh no.
No. What?
We need to do something with the gun parts. Wow, we probably...
What the fire cannon? Go!
I'm on 50 HP.
Why the fuck is it all the way over there?
Using your normal weapons still does absolutely nothing, but with your new gun part items, you can create turrets around the map that you can use to shoot down the Leviathan's legs.
I am excited.
Nice, we hit one of his legs. And And if you have enough time to use enough turrets to disrupt the Leviathan's balance...
Oh, I see its freaky tongue right now.
Yeah.
It's like that one
Nice.
that
And the military can weaken it enough for you to get the final blow.
Get it!
Yes!
No!
The trader then says he didn't even know it was possible to kill it, saying that it was meant to be an unstoppable force. What does he mean, meant to be? Why would he know that? Was he involved in the cult? Then again, he does go on to say that he only kept us here because he thought we were of use, that we could stop it. He calls you extraordinary for defeating the Leviathan, but that there's no reason to stick around anymore. He had allegedly scavenged car keys off the campers. He had them this whole time apparently, and he gives them to you to leave. But before we zoom away in a car, we still need to see what's on the final brown VHS tape. This VHS is a missing persons report form. We see the sniper in the snow, possibly the hunter from the Lakehouse, looking over the woods. But before the tape corrupts, he spots something strange moving, calling out to his friends about it. It's hard to make out anything on the VHS though this is likely the Leviathan in the background. But there's no point dwelling on that right now, we just wanted to get out of there. We found the cars right by the safe house.
Well guys, it's been, you know, I can't say that it's been good.
Before we came here I didn't believe in any entities or cryptids, but now I won't be able to forget.
Before we came
That's
here.
the last time I go into a scary forest.
Alright, let's go. Oh, you were right, it just fucking, I just went near it.
I forget.
I really love, I hope the screen comes back on and we had a car crash sound. Oh,
this is
whoa.
sick! No way. It's 7-Eleven, who wants a glizzy?
Yeah, let's get the 7-Eleven glizzy! Put up that video we took about.
Doctor!
Oh god, do we break down or what? I bet the Leviathan's gonna come back. Yeah! You successfully
Chips
killed the
Tip
Leviathan and
Forest.
escaped Chip Tip's forest. Chip's Tip sounds disgusting, by the way.
Chips Tip Forest.
And that's it. What an atmospheric ending visual with the rain, puddles and splashes. It was definitely a strong tone, and so satisfying to escape after a few tries and finally working everything out to escape the Cryptoforest. The map creator has actually since made drivable vehicles for his other maps, so I can't help but imagine that as part of the ending. It makes me wonder what is possible with his creations in the future, but we'll get into that in a bit. So that's the good ending, but there are still a lot of questions about the origins of the cryptids, like the Wendigo, why the UFO crashes every 2 months, what the trader's secret motives were, and some more details about the cult would be cool. Perhaps this is revealed in the secret ending? So how do you unlock the secret ending? My first thought was that it would be something super specific that you're almost definitely not going to do naturally, like potting all the pool balls 5 times, or perhaps similar to games like IB where you just have to exhaust certain dialogue options. I assumed you'd just have to max out all the banter with the trader, for example, or activate certain random objects around the map. As it turns out though, aside for a couple of caveats, it's entirely in reach, and it's definitely a conscious choice that players can naturally make. After one of the final deals from the trader, where you're about to get the secret Powerplant key from the Lakehouse, the trader gives you an alternate, extra optional deal. If you accept it, 10 small medallions will spawn around the entire map in specific locations. If you bring all 10 to him, he'll give you a mystery key. And when I say that they're small, believe me when I say they can be quite hard to spot. Some are tucked away behind corners, under tree leaves, and under planks. Now, I know I said this video acts as a guide for those who get stuck also, but I'm just not going to say what all of these are. Half the fun is finding them, so I won't take that away. There are guides that exist already if you do want to check it out, but I want to leave some mystery, and honestly, it's not that entertaining to just go over 15 locations. It takes a long time to find these, so the chances are you're probably going to find it easier to kill the Leviathan before you start looking. And after you collect all 10, the trader gives you the mystery key, explaining that he has no idea what it does. But I instantly had an idea of what it was for.
I'm breaking it. I see it.
We ran over to the cabin with the trapdoor, and sure enough, it opened. Inside? Ooh, Another car key.
Oh shit. Wait,
Can
is
you
it
get
just
down
another
there?
car key? What?
Okay.
Is
But
that
maybe we
it?
drive to a different place? Maybe it's a different car. There were 2 cars there, right?
But when we hop in the other car, after searching for medallions for way too long,
Okay, this is the same place.
Oh my god. And we're in the same car.
Hmm. Okay. Is the door open this time?
you escaped Chip Tip's forest early, leaving the trader behind. What happens now?
So the secret ending was just the same ending?
It's escaping early, I guess.
Except we did it later.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to do that like earlier?
Wow, so the secret ending is sort of pretty much a flex to 100% the map? Well, it says you escape early, which is a cool feature, but in my opinion, most people have to kill the Leviathan anyway to be able to have time to find the medallions, so it must be super rare for this to happen, where you actually escape early, I mean. I think that this is one of the only criticisms of the map, actually. It's just very unlikely that you'll see all the foreshadowing or lore or mystery of the Leviathan before the Leviathan comes for the first time. At least, unless you know that you have to try and complete the map as fast as you can before going in. It's still super interesting in its own way despite this though, as you can uncover parts of the lore while trying to figure out how to finish off the main story itself. And if intentional, it's quite a unique method of storytelling, having to restart the game to figure out more parts of the story. But speaking of the story, the secret ending doesn't really answer any more questions really, so what is there to look into next? There weren't really any obvious explanations or confirmed theories about the lore of Cryptoforest, or any of the unanswered mysteries, and the creator, Unicake, didn't post a follow-up. It turns out the story really hadn't ended there, and the truth about Cryptoforest was nowhere near over. The story was still going on in its own way, and it was revealed after I got in touch with the creator. So before we fully get onto the interview about game design, I'll quickly show a clip from the interview about cut content that reveals the next step in the Cryptoforest universe, and it's a lot bigger than you might expect. This game is pretty huge for a TF2 map, not just in mechanics but in scale, so I was just wondering what was cut from the game, what did you work on that didn't actually make the final map that we saw?
There is a lot of cut content for Cryptoforest. There are around 3 cryptids that were cut. Most interestingly, the Grafton monster, who was cut pretty early on. So there weren't too many plans on how he'd be used in Cryptoforest. We'll get back to that soon. Other than that, he was supposed to be in the basement of the power plant. Through the sketches, you can see I wanted a completely original design, though still keeping his white mass monster appearance. In this version, he was a bit skinnier than usually depicted. The second cryptid, and an area that was supposed to go along with it, was the Mongolian deathworm, who were supposed to end up in the mines below the forest, where the giant worm would be going around the tunnel, eating you up if you stand in its way. The only remnant of a underground area that sort of resembles what the idea for the caves was is the underground area you reach after going down the well. And the third cut cryptid was a completely original monster called the Husks. They would be invisible, walking around the map randomly. The only warning players would get that they are getting close to one is an unused audio cue I made for them. Just like the Wendigo, this cryptid was supposed to be a smart way of introducing an enemy into the map while just being a combination of a few simple hammer entities.
So after the ending and the secret ending, and of course the bad ending, what's next for these characters? They've escaped the forest and seemingly drove off okay, but what's going to happen to them next, if anything? Is there a story that lies beyond the gates of Cryptoforest?
Well, in Cryptoforest, I don't think that we are playing as any sort of characters. I think we are just blank slates, so there isn't much thought put into what happens to us after the endings. But if we are talking about the Trader and the Wendigo and such, well, despite the fact that we get rid of the evil that is the Leviathan, the Wendigo still continue on living in the forests as they are a separate entity. And the Trader is just overall mysterious. You don't know what he is, what he's been doing before the map takes place, and you don't know what he will be doing after the map takes place. Is he even a physical entity in the world? Does he just vanish into thin air? It's up to the player to decide. Well, after Cryptoforest was done, I didn't release anything as a direct sequel. But somewhere, deep down in the workshop, the story of an unexplored part of the Cryptoforest was about to begin.
On the 29th of August 2021, a few months after Cryptoforest 2.0 dropped, a Steam user named Mr. Grafton uploaded a single-player map to the Steam Community Workshop titled Basement Demo Single Player. He said it was the first map he's ever made, a demo for a bigger experience coming soon, where you solve puzzles and progress through a basement using keys and other items. Warning: this map may contain psychological horror tactics, fleshy, bloody and viscous imagery, and disturbing guttural sound effects. Please do not spoil the ending of the map in the comments section. You might be wondering how this all ties in, but at the end all will be revealed. This is the next stepping stone into working everything out. So, let's enter the basement. Now, as this is just a short map, you're fairly invested at this point, I'll just show you the map in its entirety without post-narration. This map has an action key where you can bind to interact with objects, similar to other horror games like Amnesia or Resident Evil. Basement Demo. M2 to toggle flashlight. Oh wow. Use as open drawers and grab items. I see something through this air vent. I could take it off if I had the right tools. Okay, so let's see if we can find some tools. Wow, so you can actually interact with things in TF2 now with VScript. Oh. Is that cutscene? Wow! Okay, this is new. Very interesting to have this traditional horror dynamic, but it's not just for opening doors. There is a tool stuck inside the machinery. It's impossible to pull out. This is giving Silent Hill vibes already, the way it's doing those like little shots of what's happening. We've got this key, the north hallway key, so we could go back. There's probably some kind of pulley that we can use to make this mechanism come undone. But now that we have this extra key, let's go over here. Nice. The cutscenes are a bit long, but this is amazing steps forward in like what is possible. Wow, is there something we can see? Just some lights. And a map. M1 for map. Okay, wow, this is next level. Wow, okay, definitely Silent Hill inspiration. And take a look at these drawers too. This is amazing to see within TF2, especially for 2021. Definitely some Resident Evil 7 inspiration here. And it's very cool to see someone being proactive with what they thought was cool in other video games by learning how to do it themselves in their own game and making their own story. The tool is there, and we're about to go in the generator room. And to get out of the basement to the exit, we do need to go over there. Or through the vent. Yeah, so the vent is our way out. But there's still a laundry room to explore as well. Oh, another key. The laundry room key, there we go. The fuse box appears to be some sort of puzzle. It's missing a switch. I can't solve it yet. I assume that's in the laundry room. A knight once went on a crusade to terrorize a peaceful village. First, he slays a peasant, attending his chores. Then he sees a bishop by a church. He spares the bishop's life, because they are of one kind. The knight charges into the village's main castle and slays the queen of the village. The king of the village wakes up just to see his wife dead on the ground. He takes out his saber and fights the knight, coming out on top. Okay, that's definitely some kind of puzzle. So it should be, he slays the peasant, which is the pawn, the pawn's dead. He sees the bishop by church, he spares the bishop's life, so the bishop lives. The knight charges into the village's main castle and slays the queen, so the queen is dead. That's one we need the switch for though. The king of the village wakes up to see his wife dead on the ground. He takes out his saber and fights the knight, coming out on top. So the knight is also dead, and the king... Oh, that's the king, so the king lives and the queen dies. So if we find the piece for the king in the laundry room, we should be able to get the tool out of the mechanism and escape. Wow, this has so much potential. I know you might be thinking, why didn't you make a horror game in a standalone engine or another newer game, but I think the stylization is just so nice. Another puzzle. The numbers are supposed to somehow correspond to the pictures. So 4... This is probably the activation button. This has 8 legs, and this has 8 legs. This has 4 legs, and this has 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. There we go. Let's try this. Okay, that's wrong. I guess the arms could count as well. 6. Let's try this. Ah, wow, lovely. And this is the switch. Let's go back. So does the queen dies. Let's just try this. I think it should work. Yes. Okay, the tool's been released. Let's go back. Oh god. Oh god, what is that shadow? Let me out. Oh my god. Okay, I've got the tool. Oh my god. Can I shut this door? How do I get out? Holy shit. He keeps turning off my flashlight when he gets close. Will I be able to get... The vent won't even open anymore. Oh god, it's so scary. Yep. Oh my god, you have to take it off one by one while this big pink fucker is here. Oh my god, that is so scary. Open up. This is terrifying. My commentary is so bad, but I'm just trying not to be eaten. Such a freaky color. Oh my god, please. Please break the vent. Yes. Oh, let me out, let me out. So many cans of beans. Oh, it hurts to look at. I guess that's it. It is just a demo after all. Oh, we're in the forest. I do have a feeling about this could be the Cryptoforest. Yep, Unicake presents. Yep. Grafton Mansion even. Let's fucking go. Oh, that is so exciting. A Cryptoforest sequel, let's fucking go. Okay, that's very, very exciting. Coming soon. Okay. And just like that, the short 5-minute demo was over? Mr. Grafton was in fact a fake account that Unicake made, and this was a teaser for a Cryptoforest sequel, showcasing new mechanics and a new story. But Grafton Mansion? The Grafton Monster, also known as the Beast of Grafton, is also a West Virginia cryptid known to stalk around local forests outside the town of Grafton. The huge humanoid, described as having seal-like skin, had no visible head in sighting reports. After Robert Cockrell experienced the first sighting, he spread the word, and monster hunting groups formed to try and find the beast, which led to more than 20 sightings. One sighting said that his first encounter was with his father whilst cutting wood, while they were interrupted by dogs barking, which does line up with the events of Cryptoforest. And Grafton Mansion? You might have seen in the background of this gameplay that towards the edge of Chip Tip's forest, just beyond the fence that marks the end of the forest, there's a large house. Grafton Mansion. Assuming Basement Demo takes place right after the good ending of Cryptoforest, it means that somehow the protagonist can't quite escape from the forest entirely and still has some kind of tether to Grafton Mansion. But those new mechanics showcased in Basement Demo were in 2021. Although impressive, are nowhere near close to what has been unfolding in the last 4 years since then. There's been no indication of Grafton Mansion as a sequel to Cryptoforest, and Unicake has kept quiet. And believe me, that 4 years, of course, has not all been dedicated to Cryptoforest. Alongside an IRL career, he's generated some groundbreaking advances in TF2 horror, TF2 modding, storytelling and map creation, and I'm so excited to try and help Unicake share this. So stick around for this next segment where we can ask Unicake about the unanswered lore questions, secrets, what's next, Easter eggs, cut content, what inspired the design of the monsters and characters, behind the scenes of making the games, and how to make your own similar maps. Maybe not all of that interests you, but this segment is for you to choose what you are interested in hearing more about before we move on to the final current end to Cryptoforest. So choose what chapters you want to hear about in the description, or just sit back and relax to learn everything before we reach our final conclusions afterwards. So, Basement Demo, not uploaded by you, what was this supposed to be? What was your concept for Basement Demo?
So between Cryptoforest and Basement Demo, I actually played Silent Hill 1, which actually inspired me a lot for the puzzles. I mean, the limb puzzle is literally ripped straight out of that game. But anyways, that game's puzzles were something a bit more difficult than the usual Resident Evil puzzle, which did actually give me more faith to create a complex puzzle, which you can see in the generator puzzle. And I still think that puzzle is cool, and I think that one was original, unless I did subconsciously lift that out of something else, like Resident Evil. I don't really remember.
It's such a massive upgrade from Cryptoforest, being able to interact with your environment in such a specific way and having cutscenes and items that you pick up and use, with the monsters just seeming a bit more scary. But what were the key features for you?
When I found an entity that allowed me to disable the player's weapons and give the user totally original functionalities when they press mouse 1 and mouse 2, I was like, wow, this is it. Like, this will actually allow me to make a single player horror map. So for me, the favorite part is that with this one simple hammer entity, you are actually put into a horror predicament, stripped of your weapons. Like, you aren't a spy running around with a revolver or a soldier with a rocket launcher. I feel like it'd be so illusion breaking if not for this one thing.
I mean, this is all really incredible and quite exciting to see how the TF2 engine can be pushed. But since Basement Demo, there's been silence for 3 years. There's no Grafton Mansion that has ever come out. Was the full map release for Grafton Mansion of the demo cancelled? Will there ever be an ending to Cryptoforest?
Well, after Cryptoforest, I began work on this Basement Demo that was supposed to be a sneak peek at the time, upcoming Grafton Mansion, a full-on single-player sequel to Cryptoforest, where you would be an urban explorer going into the abandoned mansion and ending up coming across the Grafton monster and its many offsprings, such as the monster you see in Basement Demo. But obviously the full version of Basement Demo was scrapped, since I didn't think that what I could work with at the time would be good enough for a full-length single-player experience. Simple hammer logic allowed me to do a lot of things in Cryptoforest, but in a single-player setting you run into the problem of like, well, what happens when you die? Do you just have to redo the whole map from the start? And the fact you couldn't have actually good stalker enemies, but basically what you saw in Basement Demo, a monster walking back and forth, quite literally on train tracks. It uses the same logic as a payload card. It just wasn't good enough, and that's why it was canned.
So what's next? What's happening now with you? What are your plans for the next TF2 map development?
So it's been almost 4 years since we last saw anything out of the Cryptoforest universe, and as you may know, the full version of Basement Demo has been cancelled due to limitations of the Hammer editor's logic just not being good enough for a single player experience. But recently, TF2 has received an update that introduced VScript into the game, and so for the first time publicly, can finally announce that the single player sequel to Cryptoforest, a new Grafton Mansion, is in active development. But the concept is totally different than Basement Demo. The scope is so much larger than what it was originally because of how many things you can now do in VScript. Might have picked up on the fact I've been using the term full version of Basement Demo instead of just Grafton Mansion, because Grafton Mansion is so much different than what it was 3 years ago. I don't want to reveal too much yet, but I am 1 year into its development and it's still in an early alpha stage, still getting the basics such as enemy AI and the gameplay loop before starting work on the actual campaign. I think that it will be more than a year until this project is complete, but until then I'm happy to share with you a few early sneak peeks for the first time publicly.
In this image, not only can we see a custom model, an original character, which suggests we might have a representation of the main Cryptoforest characters, but he's holding an entirely custom weapon that looks almost like a Tech 9 or an automatic machine gun. If that isn't enough, we can see a whole range of other gun parts in an armory and a vehicle. You can also make out that there's a counter for how much ammo is stored, and even a save point. This could mean that there are safe rooms in the upcoming Cryptoforest game. A save mechanic is huge for a TF2 horror map. We can then see the engine pushed even further with what looks like an inventory, boasting the fact that there will be smoke grenades and different types of health items to carry along with you to use at any time. But I mean, come on, this UI inside of a TF2 map that you can just download off the workshop, that's absolutely insane. We then also got a sneak peek at what the health pack might look like, with a nice stylized border to highlight it, indicating that you'll be able to interact with multiple different items in your environment. Also, check out the first glance of a clean looking ammo counter in the bottom right. We see this again in the next screenshot, which shows scrap metal. Does that confirm some kind of crafting mechanic being introduced into the series? And what's Cracky Pop? Some undeniably creative world building going on here. I'm so excited for this, and I hope you guys are too. I've seen a bit more than these pictures, and this isn't even part of it. It's amazing. We left Cryptoforest with a ton of questions about what the cult was worshipping, who the trader is, as well as the nature of the Wendigo and even the Goatman. And Basement Demo opened up even more questions. However, with Grafton Mansion confirmed, we can assume that some of these mysteries are simply yet to be revealed in an upcoming game. We can theorize about who made the automaton. Did he used to be a butler of the Grafton family? What Grafton family member was the cryptid we saw in the basement? And was the deforestation of Chip Tip's forest the root cause of the Wendigo and by extension the cult? For now, we just don't know. But let's get into some more cut content and Easter eggs. So what are the rest of the secrets that we haven't spoken about or covered so far?
It was so long ago when I added all these secrets. I probably can't even remember some, so I encourage everyone to get lost in the map. Probably find so much more than I can remember. But one of the cooler ones that I remember was pretty much secret cryptids in the map. The shadow people. Sometimes when an area hasn't been visited by players for a very long time, a sprite would appear, resembling a dark figure that would disappear if players got close. That actually added a lot to the horror of the map, because players would say they saw something in the distance, and they are totally right. There are figures popping in and out of existence around the map. They are even referenced on one rock as a drawing. Behind the power plant near the substation, you can find a drawing of a UFO among clouds, which is actually referencing a very rare occurrence where sometimes when it rains, a UFO can be seen above clouds. But it is very hard to see, so I don't know if you'll even have luck in trying to record it for the video. Through the map, you can find these wooden boards that have some newspaper pieces about some events that took place before the map, like policemen going missing in the forest, which aligns with the abandoned police cars you can find in one section of the map, and the power plant going abandoned after a new one has recently opened in the area. These are just some small things that just add to the world building of the map. Other than that, the trader's banter option will give you a lot of implied backstory to the forest and some cool references to other media. Like the trader will tell you how Sasquatches used to live in these woods until they were hunted to extinction in 1911, which is a reference to Undead Nightmare DLC for Red Dead Redemption, where John Marston does kill the last Sasquatch alive in 1911. So when you collect all VHS tapes, you can actually notice that it looks like there is one more to be collected. And that is because there is a fifth scrapped gray VHS tape, which was actually supposed to be a tape made by the cult. It was scrapped because it was gonna be just an exposition dump of details and things that in the final version of the map were better conveyed about the cult via other means, instead of the cult just telling you who they are and what they did and everything. I can tell you that the sniper in the brown VHS tape was the co-pilot of the rescue helicopter. In the tape you can see that the point of view is from a high up place, which means it was recorded while they were on the helicopter. But the helicopter co-pilot is not the same person as the guy from the lake cabin. The character in the lake cabin is someone who had first-hand experience with various cryptids, as you can gather from the bios and stories he wrote down about them in the hidden room behind the bookcase. The other background characters and random corpses don't have much writing from my point of view. And that's the thing about Cryptoforest, is that I want the players to kind of make up their own stories for everything. Even the characters you play as don't really have an official explanation of how they ended up in the forest, so that's also another thing I wanted players to speculate on.
Once again in this series, I've speculated and theorized, but ended up with the result being that in a lot of cases, creators like the audience to speculate themselves about things, and they're just setting up the playground to let that happen. This doesn't make me any less curious about where the next game will go next though, and in any case, this series is predominantly about showcasing how much you can create by taking inspiration and motivation from what you're passionate about. So what was it that inspired Unicake exactly?
So I've had a fascination with all things paranormal ever since I was a kid. Cryptids, UFOs, all that kinds of stuff. I myself live near a huge forest that encompasses a lot of land. Even had my own fair share of strange encounters in the woods. And right before I started work on Cryptoforest, I've been playing Fallout 76, and in the game, the West Virginia cryptids were adapted into enemies. It was so cool seeing these new original artists' renditions of these characters, and I feel like that inspired me to make a map to show off my own rendition of these cryptids. Well, I don't see Cryptoforest much as a horror experience, but perhaps more like an action adventure with a horror aesthetic over it. So going from cool event to another cool event, an alien crashing down and picking a fight with you, firing AA cannons at a huge giant monster. In which regard, Resident Evil 4 was a big inspiration. You know, it's known as the beginning of the Resident Evil series, where the focus was less on horror and more just cool stuff and action. And then the indie game Darkwoods was also a pretty big inspiration. The merchant in the game was probably like the beginning point for the idea of a trader character for Cryptoforest, which then ended up being a mashup between Darkwood and Resident Evil 4 Merchant. So another thing about Resident Evil is that it's known for having these iconic locations. And so for Cryptoforest, I wanted for each part of the map to be unique and still make sense as something you would actually find in an American woodland. So cabins, a lake, a lumberyard, tents, a hunter shack, and an abandoned building that evokes like an urban exploration feeling. I feel confident that even though the map is a dense forest, you can actually very easily navigate through how everything is laid out, through how unique each location is. So there's nothing much to the medallions. They are literally just ripped straight from Resident Evil 4. It's just like a reference to it. But something interesting is that in the theory discussion under the map in the workshop, someone came up with an idea that each medallion was owned by a cult member, and that's amazing. Like, that's what Cryptoforest was for, like being, you know, vague about everything and people just coming up with their own stuff about it. It's like really cool. A big stylistic choice for Cryptoforest is the dark forest green text color that's used for the titles, dialogue text and icons. It gives the map this look of uniformity throughout. It was just perfect for a horror forest aesthetic. Then the font for the titles and dialogue obviously was lifted from Red Dead Redemption, but looking back I feel like it was such a good pick. It's just so perfect for a horror equivalent of the TF2 font. I really like the concept of games like God of War, where they take characters from mythologies and have their own artistic depiction of those characters. In Cryptoforest, I did a similar thing where I took cryptids from West Virginia's cryptozoology and applied my own spin on them. For the Flatwoods monster, we leaned less into an alien design and more into like a ghostly apparition design. Because when I look at Flatwoods monster images, to me it feels like this is not an advanced alien wearing robot armor. It looks like an alien wearing a Victorian era dress. So my friend, the Fancy Evil, who helped me a lot with the model work on Cryptoforest before I learned Blender myself, made the Flatwoods monster with that in mind. Looks like an apparition with the dress part actually moving like a dress. For the Wendigo, well, you don't really see them much in the map. There's a rare occurrence of seeing one as a simple sprite in the bushes. But other than that, you only get a drawing of one on the Steam Workshop page, where you can see that the Cryptoforest design of the Wendigo goes into the skeleton deer human hybrid design. It has a split lower jaw. I don't really know how that came about, but I think it's great and unique. You can also see the Wendigo actually wearing cloth and boots, which hints at the Wendigo being more intelligent than just feral beasts. The idea for the Cryptoforest Wendigo is that they are these paranormal tribesmen, less beast-like and more organized. Like when you enter Darkwoods for the first time, you hear a didgeridoo sound, so they are actually using instruments. It's a hidden implied design that you can only gather through little details like that. The other cryptids don't have as much interesting design choices to write about, but the Mothman is obviously created by humans in this version, and the Leviathan was for sure inspired a lot by the Stranger Things Mind Flayer. I was watching that show when developing Cryptoforest, and I don't think there's much more to his design more than that. I've read through so many cryptid stories, and so many of them just do things so uniquely it's hard to choose, honestly. But I think that the original idea for the Mothman being this harbinger of doom that appears before tragedies, like the collapse of the Silver Bridge, is really cool. But one of my favorite stories from the less popular ones is the U-28 creature. It's this story about how like this 80-foot dinosaur crocodile thing appeared after a German submarine destroyed another vessel in World War II. Like, I really hate the idea of being on a submarine and there's like some huge unknown thing in the ocean with you. I mean, anything that's cryptid, aquatic, gigantic in one are like scary automatically.
If you've made it this far, the chances are that you found the atmosphere that has been created by Cryptoforest somewhat captivating. If you love TF2 or horror games or are passionate about anything really, like in Unicake's case, cryptozoology and TF2 community servers, hopefully this video can show you that you can create and be proactive with what you love and get something productive out of it. Games are incredible, but your passion for them can offer so much more than just gameplay. They can be a vessel to create whatever you're passionate about, so that you can pursue that passion further as a valid pathway, and create these amazing experiences for other people to enjoy too. If you want more than just playing video games, this next segment is perfect in understanding what is possible just in your free time.
I've started playing TF2 in 2014, like 10 years ago now. To my young self, the appeal in Team Fortress 2 and Team Fortress Classic was being part of a team and like everyone on the team having their own individual role and stuff. TF2 was super fun and everything, but after a while the core game just got boring, and after that I've spent most of my time on community servers because there's this social aspect and actually interacting and meeting people that never gets boring. And I still hop on community servers sometimes, but the main thing still keeping me drawn to this game is the freedom of expression and just how much Valve allowed the player base to just make their own things in it. Hammer Editor and VScript are so versatile that you don't even have to create maps that are TF2, but maps like Cryptoforest that just do their own thing entirely. It's almost like a playground for someone that wants to experiment before actually doing game dev professionally. Even though mapping was just a small hobby of mine, it made me learn a lot of things. Graphic softwares, just Photoshop and CorelDRAW, because I had to create custom textures for my maps, like fake logos for companies in my JV District map, for example. And after I've shown the things in my maps as a portfolio, I actually ended up getting a very comfortable graphic designer job that I still have to this day. I create the designs for engravings and such. It is a very niche line of work you wouldn't think about, but it is a very lucrative business. Like, we have clients all the time and it's so laid back that after work I can just come back home and still focus on my hobbies. So I'd say mapping was worth it. And other than that, Cryptoforest was actually the project that got me into Blender, and I recently actually invested in a 3D printer, and it's been a small side gig that does generate some money from time to time. A lot of my maps weren't successful, especially the earlier ones. Dear Doom was my first map, which I released in 2018, and it doesn't really feel like a Doom map at all. Besides music, I mean, it's just full of random TF2 and Half-Life 2 textures, not Doom at all. Then my second ever map, VSH Wellhouse, I think was never added to any VSH server at all. But the thing about these maps that failed is that when I was making them, I was learning a lot of new things that were important for the journey ahead. VSH Wellhouse was when I first learned soundscapes, overlays and more. And even my latest map, JB Miami, not being viewed favorably among the jailbreak player base because it strays too much from jailbreak, like a money system, and custom weapons and just overall being too big, was the map that taught me VScript fundamentals, which is now what the Cryptoforest sequel relies heavily on. So remember that in mapping or any artistic expression project, you will have a lot of failed attempts, maps that do poorly with negative overall opinion that may make you disheartened to work further. But I always remember that the maps that don't do well are still important for the overall learning experience.
How long did the map take you to create? How do you manage that with daily life and having other responsibilities? Like, how intensive was the project to work on for whatever time period it was?
The first version of Cryptoforest took about 2 months to create and release. This is the version which basically had all the essentials like the map itself and some events like the boss fights, but there was no storyline yet. Then the second version came out after 6 months, which included the trader, the voice lines, the whole quest line, which means the project took about 8 months to complete. And managing time for it was not hard. I mean, at the time I was in high school, so it was just coming back home from school and working on that.
It's probably one of the most enjoyable and fascinating things ever for me to hear why people are interested in things and how people work on passion projects for the pure reason that they're interested in pursuing it in any capacity. I really hope you enjoyed that segment too. Finding certain kinds of inspiration that motivates can be truly exhilarating, but there are often blocks of all kinds. For example, when researching the origins of cryptids, I heard that some people strongly frown upon non-indigenous representations of Wendigo. And I can completely understand why, when people completely change what the folklore was about and twist it away from its roots, especially within the context of how some authors had colonialist angles in their writings, intentionally or not, or disregard what the Wendigo stood for, resulting in distortions or oversimplification. Some researchers and natives swear that you should never even mention the word, let alone create something of your own. Others say that you should consult an Algonquin native beforehand for permission. Some say it's fine as long as you're accurate to what the Wendigo folklore was originally trying to convey. It's a complete spectrum. This video is obviously angled to stress the sentiment of pursuing what you're passionate about and the importance of acting on that. So I wondered what Unicake's thoughts were, as the lore behind the Wendigo in Cryptoforest seems pretty accurate from my research, aside from the visual depiction.
It's interesting you say that they are similar to the origins of the Wendigo myth, because I mean, when we talk about the visual design philosophy of the deer head skeleton design, that's something popularized in the 20th century from what I know, and not what they were originally portrayed as. But I do actually much prefer this design over, let's say, what Fallout 76 and Until Dawn did with their Wendigo design. I think that the pale humanoid design has been overused by too many monsters by now, and that the deer-like design is just a much more interesting and thematically fitting design that let the Wendigo become more popularized and stay in the public consciousness. Just how in Jurassic Park there is an explanation to why the dinosaurs are inaccurate to what they originally looked like, in the upcoming sequel I want to explore and actually give reason why specifically the Cryptoforest Wendigo visual design is like this.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear his perspective. He clearly knows a lot about the history and wants to represent the true sentiment behind them. Though he does want to adapt the visual design to be more appealing and fitting to a narrative, and with this narrative stay true to it as well. You know, it's really not my place to say what is or isn't correct, but I'll leave resources in the description if you're curious about it. I think that ideally in situations like this, original folklore is already respected and recognized for what it truly is and was without any distortions, and thus acknowledged to the degree whereby it's clear that any interpretations are built upon that. And therefore, as long as they're done kind of respectfully, people can be inspired and get creative, and the sentiment of any folklore can be shared, spreading the genuine messages for people to learn from. But I guess you can't complain if a majority of a culture wants something to be left untouched. To be frank, I wouldn't have known any of this if it wasn't for Cryptoforest in the first place. This obviously isn't the focus of the video, but I wanted to go into the background of the Wendigo like I did for the other cryptids, and this kept coming up, so I thought it was important not to just ignore it. But anyway, in conclusion, I've had so much fun experiencing the world Cryptoforest created, going from the woods of the unknown full of mystery, gradually unveiling some answers, constantly anticipating what is next, all whilst knowing it's just a fun story, but wanting to indulge and get immersed anyway. Hopefully watching this video has had the same effect. It took a lot longer than normal to produce, and during which I garnered a renewed appreciation for passion projects with no other outcome than a desire to create. Something that's possible for most every day, yet it's easy to lose sight of and often what we're most scared to do. I hope you're excited to see what Unicake makes in the future, and I hope you want to create something as soon as this video ends.